Space is continually offering up new mysteries for scientists and astronomers to unpack and attempt to solve. And although it often seems as though many of these mysteries are unsolvable, every day we get closer to understanding more and more about the infinite vastness that stretches out beyond our own planet Earth. Whether it is strange phenomena in our own galaxy or mystifying occurrences hundreds upon hundreds of light years away, scientists have set out to uncover as much as they possibly can about the cosmic world around us. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we will be looking at interesting discoveries and what they mean for our understanding of the final frontier. NASA finds massive gravity anomaly buried under Antarctica. NASA's satellites have noticed a gravity anomaly sitting within a 300-mile-wide crater buried deep underneath Antarctica's ice, seemingly consistent with the giant asteroid. Impact that caused the Permian-Triassic extinction roughly 250 million years ago. The asteroid triggered a mass extinction that lasted nearly 2 million years, starting volcanic flows and hotspots. This crater is estimated to be almost 3 times the Chicxulub crater's size, which is the asteroid impact that killed off the dinosaurs. Scientists believe that this crater was formed even before East Antarctica's coastal Cretaceous formation. NASA and the German Aerospace Center ran a 15-year-long mission to measure gravity anomalies throughout the planet and discover how its mass is distributed and changes over time. The joint mission was called the Gravity Recovery and Climate Experiment, or GRACE, and ran from March 2002 to October 2017. They sent satellites that would detect any subtle shifts in the Earth's magnetic and gravity fields. Gravitational force is affected by mass, so any changes indicate a redistribution of mass, something large enough to alter it. GRACE sent 2 satellites into orbit at the same altitudes, one trailing the other, and circled the poles about 15 times every day. In 2006, a group of researchers examined data from these satellites when they noticed an anomaly below Antarctica's ice. Using GRACE's records, they determined that the anomaly was due to a massive crater that had been buried for millions of years, most likely from an asteroid impact. The discovery has instigated a flurry of theories, with the most popular being the existence of 1930s and 1940s German bases. Theorists claim that Germany built secret hideouts in the continent during that time, evidenced by the multiple entrances that exist around Antarctica. They argue that the Germans were building UFOs because the entrance's size required you to fly in a saucer-shaped vessel. In 1991, the KGB revealed classified documents from the US Navy's Operation Highjump, which proved they had sent numerous missions to the Antarctic during the 1970s. The theorists say that although the Navy claimed they were only researching the continent, they were there to investigate an entrance that supposedly led to the inner Earth. Thousands of sailors and crew were dispatched over the years, allowing rumors of UFO bases, German hideouts, and portals to the underworld to grow. Scientists, though, argue that the mysterious anomaly is an impact crater. The massive Wilkes Land gravity anomaly is about 151 miles wide and reaches a minimum depth of 2,700 feet. Researchers believe that a giant asteroid could have impacted the Antarctic and initiated the Permian-Triassic extinction, which was the largest extinction of life in Earth's history. It killed 96% of all sea creatures and about 70% of the land-dwelling vertebrate organisms, much more catastrophic than what killed the dinosaurs. The collision would have caused drastic climate changes and created a challenging environment to live in, resulting in many species to have lost their lives. Since the crater is covered by miles of thick glacial ice, researchers have not been able to test it or pull samples properly. They have only been able to quickly inspect it based on its magnetic and gravitational anomalies. Scientists have no accurate way to figure out what is buried deep within Antarctica's ice, so it will remain a mystery until they do. Astronomers believe they can finally explain these bizarre circular space objects. Although astronomers are constantly capturing incredible images from space, that doesn't mean that they always understand what they are seeing right away. Sometimes it takes time to uncover the mystery. For example, recently, researchers working with data taken from South Africa's Meerkat telescope believe they have finally been able to explain a mystery image captured back in 2019. 3 years ago, when astronomers discovered an image of glowing rings using CSIRO's ASCAP radio telescope, they were unable to determine what these rings actually were. They dubbed these rings odd radio circles, or AUCs. Using the Meerkat data, astronomers now think that these AUCs are most likely vast explosions of hot gas centered on a galaxy that was previously undetectable. Scientists have been able to detect a blob of radio emission in the center of these rings that coincides with a distant galaxy. It is thought that these AUCs were generated by this galaxy. Scientists now believe that these rings are about 1 million light-years across. In other words, they are gigantic. They would have to be, as spotting them from such a distance is no easy feat, even using incredibly advanced telescopes. Meerkat has also been able to get an understanding of the magnetic field in the ring through mapping the polarization of the radio waves. The polarization image taken has been able to show a magnetic field that runs along the sphere's edge. This finding points to the possibility that an explosion in the central galaxy caused the collision of a hot blast with a gas outside of the galaxy. The shockwave that resulted from the explosion made the electrons in the gas energize and generate radio waves by spiraling around the magnetic field. Despite hitting a breakthrough in the understanding of AUCs, there is still a missing puzzle piece. Scientists are not sure what caused the explosion. However, they do have 2 main theories they are exploring. The first is that the merging of 2 supermassive black holes caused the explosion by releasing a massive amount of energy, creating the AUC. The second possibility is that a starburst event occurred in the central galaxy that gave birth to 1 million stars. This starburst event would result in a spherical shockwave caused by hot gas blasting out from the galaxy. Despite the breakthroughs that have already been made, scientists are not stopping the search to find out more. To do this, they will need an observatory that is even more sensitive than both the Meerkat and ASCAP telescopes. This hope is already being actualized by the Square Kilometre Array, or SCAR, an international radio telescope project that will be built in South Africa and Australia. With the SCAR project underway, we are getting closer to discovering more about these AUCs and what they can tell us about the life cycle of a galaxy. Our universe is a vast and intriguing place. Even though we gain explanations for new mysteries every single day, there is always something new waiting for us to uncover. Astrophysicist discovers numerous multiple star systems with exoplanets. The search for life outside of Earth is so relentless because there are so many possibilities beyond our own solar system. In fact, there are thousands of other stars besides our Sun with planets in orbit around it, including more than 4,000 exoplanets. This number greatly increases the odds of finding extraterrestrial life, and it seems that the number of exoplanets is only growing. Dr. Marcus Muggrauer, an astrophysicist with Friedrich Schiller University Jena, has recently discovered and characterized several previously unknown star systems containing exoplanets, and his published study has sent waves through the astronomical community. To obtain these results, Muggrauer searched through 1,300 host star systems in the search for hidden companion stars associated with the host star. He explained his process by saying, "Multiple star systems are very common in our Milky Way. If such systems include planets, they are of particular interest to astrophysics, because the planetary systems in them can differ from our solar system in fundamental ways." Essentially, Muggrauer was searching for the vicinity of thousands of already known host stars in the hopes that they would have an associated companion star that also had orbiting exoplanets. He used the Gaia Space Telescope operated by the European Space Agency in his search, which ultimately turned up fascinating results due to the precise data that he was able to collect. Muggrauer's search revealed the previously hidden existence of over 200 companion stars. The data that he collected allowed him to precisely categorize these new discoveries, which spanned a wide variety as to type and distance. Most of the companion stars varied considerably in their mass, temperature, and evolutionary stage, and some were located up to 1,600 light-years away from the Sun. The team also discovered that, although most of the study's star systems with associated exoplanets were two-star systems, there were a significant amount that were arranged in a hierarchical triple-star system, and even one that appeared to be a quadruple star system. The distance that these companion stars are from each other was also heavily studied, as they could tell us information about how planets are formed under different gravitational influences. They discovered that, of the distances investigated, 15% of stars have at least one companion star, which is a much lower frequency than expected. These companion stars are also up to 5 times further apart than normal systems. McGraw says, these two factors taken together could indicate that the influence of several stars in a star system disrupts the process of planet formation as well as the further development of their orbits. In addition, we will combine the results with those of an international observational campaign, which we are currently conducting on the same topic at the Perennial Observatory of the European Southern Observatory in Chile. We will then be able to investigate the precise influence of stellar multiplicity on the formation and development of planets. One thing is for sure, this astonishing discovery is sure to lead to even more discoveries about the universe in the very near future. Oldest dust ever spotted in the universe, seen in distant galaxy. Dust has long been a reveler of secrets, exposing who has neglected to polish their trinkets or how long something has laid untouched. However, researchers have applied a more cosmic use to dust particles, specifically those which are formed and scattered after explosions caused by a short-lived supernova dramatically expiring. The early days of the universe were full of these explosions, and subsequently full of the resulting dust particles which scattered across the universe, and recently astronomers may have spotted some of the first stardust ever created in a faraway galaxy. The dust was observed in galaxy A2744 YD4 at a time when the universe was only 600 million years old, by researchers viewing the location through the Atacama Large Millimeter Submillimeter Array. Although 600 million years old might seem like an unimaginably long time for some, in the context of the formation of the universe, it is but the blink of an eye. At a time when supernovas were some of the earliest formed stars in the universe, likely having begun appearing some 400 million years after the Big Bang, locating dust from early supernova explosions is an incredibly exciting find for researchers. Mikhail Mikhailovsky, an astrophysicist with the University of Edinburgh, mentioned his excitement for the find and what it means for astrophysicists in the field like himself. Dust is ubiquitous in nearby and more distant galaxies, but has, until recently, been very difficult to detect in the very early universe. This paper presents the most distant galaxy for which dust has been detected. This dust was detected by Nicholas Laporte and some of his colleagues with the University College London, as Laporte said that we are probably seeing the first stardust of the universe. And finding such an early example of stardust is huge for how scientists view and study the origins of our universe. Upon analysis, Laporte and his colleagues discovered that the supernova dust was ionized with a positive charge, indicating that the gas from the galaxy itself is similarly ionized. Researchers believe that ionization is what allowed the structures of the universe to begin to emerge as particles no longer interacted in strictly neutral ways. This switch from neutral atoms to ionized particles is known as reionization. Mikhailovsky suggested that the discovery of ionized particles provides evidence that at least a fraction of cosmic reionization was caused by galaxies like A2744 YD4. Essentially, this discovery provides a definitive mark on the timeline of early galaxy formation that appears to corroborate current hypotheses about ionization-driven changes within the early cosmos. While previous studies of early galaxies have been limited to recording the number, size, and colors, now complex analysis of dust can provide a more quantitative look at the exact mechanics behind this formation. Study of the composition of the dust itself and subsequent notation of the abundances of oxygen, silicon, and other heavier elements can also help to date the galaxies. As the fewer heavy elements present, the younger the galaxy is likely to be. This discovery is a huge one for researchers attempting to piece together the puzzle of how the universe formed, and will likely act as a major clue for future studies and analysis. Jupiter's auroras. Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system, fifth from the Sun, and one of 4 other planets in our solar system to have auroras similar to Earth. The auroras are displays of light caused by the Sun's energy and how it then interacts with the planet's magnetic field. This results in a glow at the magnetic poles. On Earth, this is most famously the Northern Lights. Jupiter's auroras, however, are a little different if recent findings are to be believed. Spacecraft Juno, sent to Jupiter to provide updates and new information on the gas giant, has recorded information on electrons that were sent into Jupiter's atmosphere at a staggering 400,000 volts. Some people believe that this excessive electron activity, and therefore the incredibly high voltage, is what gives Jupiter's auroras their much more vivid, distinctive glows, though others say that the rare occasions that the electronic activity is this high is not enough to ensure these prolonged glows of the auroras. Juno was able to tell astronomers that the high voltages are caused by the rapid rotation of the planet. The speedy rotations means that the planet replicates the effect of an electric generator on a much larger scale. This allows the electrons to fire these high voltages, resulting in the stunning red, green, and blue glows that come from the planet's poles. The interaction between the Sun's rays, electrons, and Jupiter's atmosphere is something that we have never been able to observe prior to sending Juno off out into the solar system. Another key discovery that Juno alerted us to is that Jupiter's auroras seem to be formed from particles coming not only from its poles, but from Io, one of Jupiter's 79 known moons. The particles are pushed into Jupiter's magnetic field by Io, come from the volcanoes which emit large quantities of sulfur and oxygen. Whilst it is true that NASA has successfully sent many spacecrafts up into orbit before, Juno is a little different. Juno is the first ever spacecraft that has flown directly above both of Jupiter's poles. The route, journey, and information of Juno is entirely unique, travelling in an oval, elliptical orbit around Jupiter's north and south pole. This means the findings Juno is sending back to us about these particles is brand new. Juno is estimated to pass close by to the poles every 53 days, meaning it is travelling at 30 miles each second. This means Juno has mere seconds to capture all these measurements, and it does so using the Juno Energetic Particle Detector Instrument, also known as JEDI. Barry Morg, scientist at the Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Laboratory, was the leading researcher behind the JEDI technology, who explained what a feat this technology was, stating, "We're very proud of the fact that we were able to pull that off." The confusion begins to arise when Juno did not send back consistent results. Astronomers anticipated consistent high voltages, though Juno has showed that this surge in electron activity is not always present. The firing of electrons appears to be random, with no rhyme or reason behind the different energies and bright auroras. Jupiter's auroras have been named a mystery for this very reason. Jonathan Nichols, a professor from the University of Leicester in the Department of Physics and Astronomy, explains that the uncertainty here is something Juno will aim to clear up in the future. But for now, he is not quite sure how you drive auroras so bright with that particular mechanism. For now, Juno will continue to pass by the poles, and hopefully, as more data is gathered, we will be able to make more sense of the information at hand. If we can figure out exactly what is happening to Jupiter, we hope to be able to apply this to many of the processes to other celestial bodies, such as white dwarfs, exoplanets, and pulsars. At the moment, however, Jupiter's auroras and their fluctuating voltages remain unsolved. The Sun is reawakening with cannibal CME. The sun is waking up and coming back stronger than scientists predicted. In late 2021, the Earth was hit with a sizable geomagnetic storm because of the increased number of sunspots on the surface of the sun. Sunspots are areas of intense magnetic activity, or a magnetic storm, on the surface of the sun that becomes more prevalent every 11 years. The sun's activity ebbs and flows throughout those 11 years, starting from the solar minimum part of the cycle to the solar maximum, which will be occurring around 2025. So as we approach 2025, solar activity will increase, creating everything from increased auroras to satellite destruction. The most recent sun activity has been a series of CMEs, or coronal mass ejections. Basically, CMEs are bubbles of solar material that the sun expels. They are made up of plasma gas with magnetic fields that create issues when they interact with the Earth's magnetic field. Bill Murter, a program coordinator at the Space Weather Prediction Center of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, described this phenomenon by saying, "The two magnets are going to come together, and that's going to create this geomagnetic storm. When a CME is expelled, it moves through space, carving a pathway for later CMEs. Once another CME is expelled, it may move more quickly, overtake its predecessor, and combine with it. This combination creates CMEs that are larger and larger. This occurrence is called a cannibal CME. These types of geomagnetic space weather storms are interesting to scientists, but they also pose a real-life threat to us. More scientific events like these can impact and interfere with vital pieces of infrastructure like radio communications, power grids, and satellites. So far, nothing has happened on a large enough scale, but if a larger cannibal CME was to occur, the impact might be more serious. The best example of this would be the 12-hour blackout in Quebec, Canada in 1989 after a large solar storm. Unfortunately, it can be difficult to predict space weather. Bill Murter said, "We've got some skill in forecasting the solar cycle, but we're not great at it just yet. There are lots of unknowns in the space weather business. From an underground rock that can help us understand how to predict earthquakes, to the discovery of new Jovian moons, to the sun's reawakening. Scientists are helping us understand the mysteries in our world, one discovery at a time." But what do you make of these discoveries? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.